reports that the president told a White House lawyer to stop the Attorney General Jeff Sessions from recusing himself from the Russia investigation. Let's turn to the Fox News Sunday anchor Chris Wallace, who's no doubt getting ready for his program coming up this Sunday. Chris, good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy New Year, Shep.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. How's this book playing around there?
Well, the funny thing is they started selling it. They said, we're going to start selling it today. At all the local bookstores, they stayed open and started selling it at midnight. And by 12:30, all the copies were gone. We just had to send one of our staffers, Pat Ward, out to Fairfax, Virginia, which is quite a haul, to get a couple of copies for us, which we're racing through now to see everything that's in it for Sunday. Look, it's a big deal. It's a hot topic. Having said that, I've been through some of these tell-all books before with prior presidents. You know, it'll be a fuss for a while, and then it'll move on. I think there may be two potential fallouts that are serious from this book. One is to Steve Bannon, who clearly said things he shouldn't have said in this book, and seems to have taken a lot of damage from his supporters for having done that. And the other is that it does, and a lot of it comes from Bannon's comments, it adds fuel to the fire of the special counsel. He talks about this meeting with the Russian lawyer at Trump Tower with Don Jr. and Jared Kushner in June of 2016 that Bannon calls, quote, treasonous. He suggests the possibility of money laundering in terms of a relationship with Russia. That's going to definitely be something that Robert Mueller is going to have to and probably want to look into.
Chris, aside from the minutia, the 30,000-foot view, Michael Wolff writes that 100% of the people around the president question his fitness for office. Question: if you are of the belief that the president of the United States is unfit, if you have access to the most powerful man in the world, the man who is in charge of a nuclear arsenal that can annihilate the planet, and you believe he is mentally or otherwise unfit, you have an obligation to step forward, not to talk to a writer who has a semi-permanent seat in the West Wing. You have an obligation, you're duty-bound, to come forward and say, I don't believe Donald Trump is fit for office, and we're in danger as a result. Do you not?
Yeah, I think that's probably true, but there's a big if in there, which is that you have to assume that they believe that he's mentally unfit. I have spoken to a lot of top administration officials on the record, off the record. I've never heard anybody say that. I've certainly had people raise their eyebrows about the way Donald Trump does business, but I've certainly never heard anybody suggest that they think that he is unfit to be president. Remember, he's the duly elected president of the United States. 60 million people voted for him to be president. And I certainly don't know that there's anything that he's done so far. You can certainly say a lot of it is unconventional. I'm not sure he's done anything that has endangered the country. So there's a big leap there between, you know, saying we need to have him removed from office and the current state of affairs.
I got the copy on Kindle this morning through Amazon, and I'm about 20% through it. But the opening salvos are interesting. This meeting that was apparently in his Greenwich Village apartment. Roger Ailes was there. The matter of Russia came up, and that at least our former boss in these conversations, if accurately quoted, was concerned about Russia, and President Trump said at the time, Jared's got this. It's going to be okay. And then from there, they moved on. It seems even from then and before, these concerns about Russia were front and center.
Well, sure, and we see it continuing today. And as you've just noted, there's a new report in the New York Times that says the president ordered his counsel, this is the report in the Times, ordered his White House counsel, Don McGahn, to go back, I guess this was in February, to the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, and try to persuade him not to recuse himself from the Russia investigation.
If so, obstruction?
Well, you know, it's an interesting question. There certainly are some incidents that raise eyebrows about the fact that Trump supposedly said to James Comey, according to Comey, go easy on Michael Flynn or drop the investigation of Flynn. This question, why did he fire Comey in the first place? Why did he before that, try to get Sessions not to recuse himself? On the other hand, Shep, you know, one of the things I keep wondering about here, it's obstruction of justice to stop an investigation into what? We still have no what there. I mean, it seems to me it's awfully hard to make a case the president You know, in Watergate, we knew they were trying to obstruct justice in investigating the Watergate crime and what turned out to be an effort to destabilize the Democrats during the election. But we still have no evidence that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. So I think it's going to be hard to prove obstruction of justice if there's no underlying crime.
One more thing. Mike Allen in Axios writing today that on the heels of the publication of this book, a half dozen or so sort of senior Washington types who are within the administration are considering resigning. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. Very much doubt they're going to resign because of the book. There certainly are a number of people we've heard about over recent months. Gary Cohn, the National Economic Advisor, Rex Tillerson. None of them have announced yet, but there's certainly been talk about them leaving. I will say, one, that there is a turnover after the first year, and I think some people are frustrated with dealing with this president and the way he does business. It's certainly it's controversial, but it's a long step away. I mean, I think we do need to say this. It's a long step away from any indication that he is unfit to be president. I will tell you that I have talked to the president on the record. I've talked to him in situations that are off the record, and I've never seen any sign. Now, look, I don't deal with him on a daily basis, but I've never seen any sign that the man is unfit to be the president of the United States.
And just if people who are close to him believe that he is unfit for reasons that I don't have any knowledge about, but that's what Michael Wolff writes. If they believe that, they have a duty to come forward. And if they believe that that's not true, no matter which party, they need to come forward too, don't they?
To come forward and say that he is fit.
Michael Wolff says that every single person in his orbit, 100% of them say that they question his fitness to serve. If that's not true, it seems we need to hear from him. And if it is true, we damn sure need to hear from him.
Well, I got to say, a lot of people already have said that they didn't say things that were quoted in the book. The White House Sarah Huckabee Sanders says that this is all fantasy. Look, the answer is it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, he's not unfit to be president. He certainly has his erratic moments, and he's unlike any other president we've ever dealt with here. It's not black or white. It's gray. And I think we also should point out again, we've had these tell-all books before. This is pretty explosive, but I promise you a week from now or 2 weeks from now, we'll be on to something else.
Chris Wallace from Fox News Sunday, which, by the way, airs strangely on Sunday. This Sunday on Fox News Sunday, CIA Director Mike Pompeo, daily intelligence briefings, and Corey Lewandowski, President Trump's former campaign manager. A lot about Corey Lewandowski in this book. That's this Sunday on Fox News Sunday on your local Fox station, so check your local listings. Fox News has confirmed the FBI investigating the Clinton Foundation and whether anybody there promised favors in exchange for donations to the Clinton Foundation when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. What we've now learned, how the